All right, we look at the question. Is it in the correct graphing form? No, it is not. So we're going to have to complete the square to get it in the correct graphing form. First thing you want to do is order the x's and y's so they're all kind of in the same region together. And I would move the constant to the other side. I think that's the easiest way to do it. I'm going to zoom in because I'm going to try to write a little bit clearer. Nope, wrong way. The square, but you cannot complete the square if there is a number in front of x squared or if there is a number in front of y squared. You cannot complete the square by doing like b divided by 2 squared. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to GCF, like factor out the 16 from the blue, and we're going to factor out the 4 from the red. So I'm going to factor out the 16 from the blue, and when I factor out the 16, 16 parentheses x squared plus, what is that, 6? Anybody want to tell me? Is it 6? And then I'm going to factor out the 4. We have y squared minus 2y plus something. We'll say negative 8. Okay, the reason why I changed my square into a fluffy cloud is because the number that goes in my fluffy cloud is different than the number that goes in the square. They're different numbers. Okay, so I'm going to complete the square with 6, and if you don't remember how to do it, you're doing 6 divided by 2 and squaring it, which is 3 squared, which is 9. But when I look to see the square, it is a number divided by 16 is 9. So how do I figure out what actually goes into the square? 9 times 16, right? We just have to distribute this 16 back in, and what actually goes in the red or in the blue square? 144 goes in the blue square. So if I add it on that side, I have to add it on the other side too. Okay, we'll do the same thing with the red one. I'm going to take negative 2 divided by 2 and square it. I'm going to do it in purple. Which gives me negative 1 squared, which is 1. But 1 is not what goes in the square. You have to distribute that 4 back in. So what goes in the square? 4. So over here, I'm actually adding 4 to the other side. So on the right side, negative 84 plus 144 plus 4. What is it? Okay, now we're going to do the factoring step. And the factoring step, I believe I was talking about yesterday or 2 days ago. I think it was, I don't remember. If you're not quite sure how to factor it, the number that you get before you square it, the number you get before you square it is how you factor it. So we're going to do, 16 has to be outside still. We're going to do x, and then that's a positive 3 squared, plus, and then this is going to have the 4 outside of it. And we'll have x minus 1 squared equals 64. We're a lot closer, because now we can see where the center is going to be. Oh, that's not an x. My bad. 1. We're closer. We can see where the center is going to be, but we don't have the side correct. The right side equal. Has to equal 1 to be part of the formula. It has to equal 1 to be in that formula. So, so to make it equal 1, we're going to divide everything by 64. And when you divide the first term by 64, you can cancel or reduce the 16 and 64. I have to make space here. So for this one, I've got x plus 30 squared over, so 16 divided by 64, they reduce, what do you get on the bottom? 4. Plus, here I'm going to reduce the 4 in the 64. So y minus 1 squared over 16 equals what? So we're going to have it, we now have it in the correct form, in correct graphing form. Did you guys have enough space to do it on there? I didn't. If I write smaller, you won't be able to read any of it. Okay, so where is our center? To find the center, you do it the same way you did for circles. We're going to use the opposite of 3 and the opposite of negative 1. So negative 3, positive 1. Center, negative 3, 1. There's our center. Next, we're going to find the major vertices. So we look at the bottom numbers. We've got the 4 and the 16. Which one's bigger? 16. So the 16 is going to help us find our major vertices. 16 is under the y. So we're going to add and subtract the square root of 16, 4, to the y values of the center. We're going to add and subtract 4 to the y values of the center. So I'm going to plus minus 4 on the 1. I still keep the x's the same. So we've got negative 3, and negative 3, 5. So those would be my major vertices. Yes. How to find which part? The actual points. So you understand where I got plus minus 4 or not? So because it's under the y, we have to add it to the y value of the center. So we're starting at the center and we're either going up 4 or down 4. So you can do it from the graph. You can come over here and go up 4, down 4. Over here, I just did it by adding and subtracting 4 from the 1. You could do either method. I usually do both just to double check my work.
Why do you square root the 16? How do you know?
How do I know to square root of 16?
Yeah.
Because I learned it, and then I'm repeating what I learned to you.
Oh, I thought there was like a...
Say it again.
I thought there was like a reason.
I mean, it is related to circles. you know, when we have circles, I'm going to erase what I'm writing up here, but we have circles and we have like, just x minus 1 squared plus y squared equals 25. What's the radius of this circle?
5.
You square rooted the number.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing, only it's not a circle, so we have to square root it this way, and we have to square root it this way. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Maybe, Court?
How do you know, like, if the x and y is the major?
The bigger number. So since 16 is bigger, so major's bigger, right? 16 is bigger, it's under the y that's telling me the y's bigger. You guys are asking really good questions because it just gets confusing because we've got different things. But then you learn it and you practice it and then it'll be easy. Okay, so now we're going to do the minor vertices. So up here, the smaller number is 4. So we have to square root that, just like you'd square root the radius. We're going to square root it and we're going to get plus minus 2. That is under the x, so we do plus minus 2 from the center. I'm going to keep y a 1. I'm just going to add or minus the 2 from the negative 3. And I always do the minus first because I go left to right. Or down to up, I guess. All right. So negative 5, 1, and negative 1, 1. Or we can go over here and go 2 this way, 2 that way. If I do it on the graph, then I have to figure out what ordered pairs there are to write them on the line. You could go either direction. Okay? Once you have that, you can do your best to connect these. Don't make it look like a football or an egg. They don't have pointy points. They're rounded. I have to say that because people make it look like a football over here or an egg. And then we just have one more thing to find in graph, and that's the foci. Somebody remember the equation for the foci? A squared minus b squared equals b squared. So you look at your numbers under the x's and y's. Those are the a and b squareds. Which one's bigger? 16. So we put that one first. 16 minus 4. That's 12. We square root. I get C is plus minus square root of 12, but I'm not going to leave it as square root of 12 because that simplifies. 2 radical 3. 2 radical 3. Let's just be 2 radical 3. That's too messy. Square root 3. Now, how do I know what the x's or y's? What do I add the foci to? What do I add the foci to? Does anybody remember? Somebody talked about it on the top. Is that you? Is that you? the major side? Yeah. So I look in the bigger numbers under the y's. So I'm going to add this plus minus 2 square root of 3 onto the y. But again, you go off the center. You go off the center. So my foci are going to be negative 3, comma 1 minus 2 square root 3, and negative 3, comma 1 plus 2 square root 3. So that would be the foci. Then we have to graph them. But I do not know square root of 12 by heart. I can approximate it. I'm going to type in my calculator. This is approximately 3.5. Approximately. So if it's approximately 3.5 on my graph, I will start at the center and I will go up 3.5 and I will go down 3.5. And that's where my foci will be graphed. Yes, ma'am.
So, like, what's the point of finding the foci? Like, what is
Remember when we made crop circles and crop ellipses? Remember I showed you that yesterday? And it's up here too for those of you that missed yesterday. Still up here. It's just a very important value that if we were going to learn more in-depth things about this, we would use this, the values of, I talked about it yesterday. I remember teaching it. I don't remember even what I used it for, but I know I've had to use these values before. We're not going to do anything other than find them. Okay? We're not going to do anything with the foci other than find them and graph them. That's all we're going to do with it. Nope, I'm going to take that back because there's a couple questions at the end of this that will give you information about the foci. But really, we're not doing anything in depth with it. What it's used for, I don't know. I have to look it up. I know what the focus and the parabola is used for, which we haven't learned. We haven't learned that yet, but I know what that's used for. I just don't know what it's used for in ellipses. That'd be interesting to look up, though. All right, I'm gonna stop talking for a moment, and I want you to try to do complete the square with this question. I will go over it. If you get stuck, call me over so I can see what you're doing. I'll pause the video so it's not super long.